like I said, life is going to throw you a curveball, but we have these 4 foundational elements to always fall back on and always do the reflective work on and see, where are we lacking? Where am I lacking? What do I need to improve on? Hey, sweet mama. Welcome back to another episode of Mama Mindset. I'm your host and creator, Amy Cawthorn, and I just want to take a second and take a big breath. Let it out. You made it. You made it through the holidays. You made it into the new year. And I just want to give you a great big audio virtual hug and tell you how amazing you are, how awesome you are, and just celebrate for a second with a breath that you did it. I know how hard the holidays are for a lot of people. I know how hard it is, even if you feel like you have nothing going on but just joy, and it is still so much work, but it's so beautiful. It can be very challenging for those of us who maybe didn't have the year that we were expecting to have, or the holiday that we were expecting to have. So whatever your holiday looked like for you, whether it was beautiful and it was hard, whether it wasn't beautiful and it was hard, let's just take a breath, give each other a great big hug, and recognize that you're amazing and we're all amazing and you made it through. So we're right into 2022. And I know my last couple of episodes, we talked about our intentionality behind the year and New Year's and this perfect moment for a reset. And I hope you had a little bit of time to do some reflection, to figure out what your intentionality behind the year is. Maybe you came up with a word. Maybe you came up with a phrase. Maybe you have some really big goals that you want to accomplish. Maybe you don't have some big goals that you want to accomplish. Maybe it's just little things. Maybe you want to do less. I'm such an advocate of doing less as a goal. We get so caught up in these busy, busy lives that sometimes what we really, really need is to slow down and take those breaths and take those moments for an entire year with our family. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I hope you had some time to figure out what it is you want your year to look like. Figure out if there's little changes that you want to make, because remember, little changes and little adjustments that we make within our lives, staying consistent with them is what can create massive impact and massive change later on. So one small tweak in your routine, one small adjustment really adds up to this great big picture, impactful, monumental change that just continues to compound on itself. One of the things, or I guess I should say, the big thing that I want to talk about today is January. The whole month of January, we're doing a theme. I'm going to talk about some very specific elements in the month of January. And today, what I'm going to talk about is just kind of an overview of what those elements are. So what they are and basically why they're important. And these are elements that I've come up with organically in my own life. And I really just wanted to put a name on it, put a title on it, and something for us to continuously go back to. Okay. These are 4 foundational elements for living a fulfilled life, more specifically for living a fulfilled life as a stay-at-home mom, because this is everything that we're talking about within this podcast. It's geared towards stay-at-home moms. Now, that doesn't exclude working moms. There is absolutely benefit 100% in this for anybody, for women, for men, for stay-at-home moms, for stay-at-home dads, for working dads, for working moms, for work from home moms. This can literally be applied to anybody. But the examples that I'm going to give and the specific situations within these 4 elements is going to be geared towards stay-at-home moms and the lives that we lead within those elements. So what those elements are home, health, wealth, and love. Now, Each of these elements, when used correctly, when reflected on appropriately, lead to a fulfilled life. So this takes intentionality. Intentionality each and every day focused around these 4 elements. And I'll repeat them again. It's home, health, wealth, and love. So for the month of January, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each of these elements. I'm going to tell you why each of these elements is important. I'm going to tell you how to apply them, how to use them to live a fulfilled life. And then I'm also going to give you some specific resources that I've found, and I'm sure there are more out there, but I'm going to give you the specific resources for you to take this one step further. This is going to lay the foundation for you to go a little bit deeper and then apply each of these elements to each of your own specific lives, because these elements, although can be applied to all of us, no matter what situation we're in, the application side of it, the action steps and the actions and the activities that you partake in within these elements is going to be different for every single one of you. Every single one of us is going to approach this a little bit differently. But the foundation of these elements is exactly the same. So we have home, health, wealth, and love. So what I want to talk about today is the fact that these elements are not finite. Okay. There's no end to this. There's really not even an end goal. It's the constant act of evaluating each of these elements to see what is lacking within our lives. Now, this can be done in a multitude of ways. Okay. This can be done in a simple function. You can have a simple approach to it day to day. You can also have a much more complex and in-depth approach to it in larger project-oriented ways. So I know this is getting a little deep. I'm going to give you some examples. We're going to go back to all of that in just a second, but I really do want to stress that these are the elements that I have come up with within my life that are incredibly, incredibly important to living a successful, fulfilled life as a stay-at-home mom. So all of these elements, these 4 elements, are surrounding your life. And it does take effort. It takes action steps. It takes some self-reflection. So simple things like daily check-ins. This doesn't have to be a big monumental activity, by the way. Everything that we talk about in this podcast is supposed to be incredibly practical, incredibly down to earth. So I'm not saying you need to do major work every single morning, pages of journaling or anything to do some check-ins. It's just a quick thought on checking in with yourself with these 4 elements and saying, what do I need to work on today? Okay. What is lacking today? So this can happen in 2 ways. Okay. If your life seems like it's going well, things are going smooth, but you just maybe need a little bit of direction. So you just ask yourself, what do I want to work on today? Is there something that I need to do today? And if nothing specific needs done in one of these elements, then you just go on with your day. You just live a simple day. And that looks like, for home, maybe the dishes get done. For health, maybe your water gets drank. For wealth, maybe you choose to not buy a coffee. For love, maybe you just read a book out loud during the day. If you're at a position in your life, your check-in could look a little bit differently. Your morning check-in could be like, wow, I struggled yesterday, or I have been struggling for the past week, 2 weeks, month, 6 months. Okay. You could be at a point where something is missing, you're struggling, you can't figure out what it is. Then that's when you do a little more reflective work. Okay. And you start asking yourself, how is my home? Okay. And I'll break that down in the next episodes in the month of January, but you check in with home. Okay. You check in with health, you check in with wealth, and you check in with love. And if one of those 4 elements for a fact is lacking, then you dive into that and you fix it. Okay. You work on it. And it's not going to be, like I said, it's not finite. So you're not going to come to the end of it and be like, I figured out how to fix my health and everything is good and we're just going to be fine forever and ever and ever and ever. This is constant. Those moments when you feel like I got my shit together and things are going really good, I guarantee you life is going to throw you a curveball. I guarantee you the kids are going to get sick. I guarantee you the car is going to break down. Okay. So what does that look like? The kids get sick. You're going to dedicate everything that you have to love and health. So that means home, wealth are not going to have the dedicated action, the dedicated intentionality behind it. So you are going to feel a little off balance. This is life. Okay. But what we're trying to do here is have a better understanding of these four elements and knowing that if I'm pouring into these two elements or this one element heavily in this season of my life, or just even this day, then I know that these other two elements are going to be lacking, and that's okay. It's okay because now we have an understanding of what's going on. So our expectations can be a little more realistic because realistically, sweet mama, you are not going to be able to dive into your financial situation or the element of wealth when you have an entire household of sick kids or sick family. It's just not possible. So if you understand that, that is where the grace comes in. That is where the grace and understanding for the season of life that you're in comes into play. Hey, sweet mama, I just wanted to remind you about an incredible opportunity to take these conversations one step further, to find like-minded women who want to dive deeper and pursue the things that they're interested in order to best raise our future generation. And that is with my Mama Mindset Tribe Facebook group. You can find the link in the show notes below. If you haven't already joined the group, I highly encourage you to do so. This is a free resource where you can ask questions, seek guidance, look for help, celebrate the wins of the mindset shifts that you've had, the 1% changes that you had in up-leveling your life, big things, little things, all of it. I want to celebrate all of it. I want to share all of it. We're going to ask some big questions and some participation opportunities. So if you haven't already done so, please head on over. The link is in the show notes below and join the Mama Mindset Tribe on Facebook. I look forward to having you join our tribe. So again, let's look at this a little bit in a little more complex example. So say you're doing the reflective work and you realize that, man, okay, home is the element that is just bothering me. I know that we have some work to do here. You take that a little bit deeper, and maybe that looks like you start decluttering and reorganizing your kitchen because you just know every single day when you wake up, your kitchen is not serving you. And you want to fix that. You need to change that. You need to improve on it. So you're going to dive into that. You're going to put massive amounts of energy into improving that element, to improving that section of that element. So that means maybe your love element is lacking a little bit that day because you haven't had a chance to spend extra time with the kids. So the next day, I dove into my kitchen yesterday. Now, today, I need to spend some time with the kids and improve that love element aspect. So health, maybe you're looking at this and saying, yeah, my health is really an issue right now. I'm not doing my workouts or whatever that looks like for you. So maybe your massive action for health, because that is a huge area that's causing you a lot of stress, anxiety, emotional turmoil. So you're going to go out and you're going to buy a new 12-week workout course and you're going to dive into that. You're going to put massive amounts of energy into getting through that 12-week course because you know that that element is lacking. Okay. So that's going to mean that your wealth element is lacking because if you're on a strict budget, you are going to find an area in your budget to pay for that 12-week course. Okay. So that element of wealth dips a little bit. Okay. Wealth, again, maybe what you're realizing is something that's giving you a lot of stress is that you don't have a savings account or you don't have your emergency fund built up. So you and your spouse are going to talk about this and you're going to say, I'm a little bit stressed out because if something happens, we don't have a way to pay our bills. And COVID, the pandemic, everything that's been going on in the last few years is a perfect example of how we should always be prepared. And I think a lot of women are finding that they want to be prepared. So this is just one example. So now you need to dive into saving 3 to 6 months worth of expenses to build up your emergency fund. So everything else comes to a halt and you're going to throw massive action into that, which means maybe you and your husband aren't working on your relationship as much. Maybe so your love element is dipping. So that's temporary. You know that's temporary, but maybe throughout the day you can do like little tiny things to make sure that your love element is built up. Going into the love element side of it, maybe this complex idea of doing massive action looks like, when you do your reflective work, maybe it looks like your relationship with your husband is struggling. You've had a new baby and you're feeling disconnected, or the kids are starting to grow up and you're feeling disconnected because they're not as needy anymore. And so now you have this time to spend with each other, but you don't know how to spend it. So maybe what you need to do is dive into a project together and work through something like The Love Dare, which is a book I'll talk about when it comes time to release that episode. And maybe you take massive action on something like that. But the bottom line is you can approach this in a very simple way. Like I said, in realistic approaches throughout the day. So maybe home is the dishes done, health is your water drank, wealth is choosing not to buy the coffee, and love is reading a book outside or out loud to the kids during the day. But maybe it's these very complex things, these complex involved projects that take massive action, not just little steps. And that's all okay. Just when you think you have it all figured out, like I said, life is going to throw you a curveball, but we have these 4 foundational elements to always fall back on and always do the reflective work on and see, where are we lacking? Where am I lacking? What do I need to improve on? And like I said, they all flow into each other and they all flow into life. Okay. Input and output in life. One of the most important things about this, and I know I gave you some specific examples of what this could look like for you. However, that may not be your situation. I just want to repeat that these 4 elements and how you approach them and the action steps you take to these 4 elements is going to be incredibly unique for you, incredibly unique for your household, and incredibly unique for your family. A lot of it's based around your values and your principles and this vision that you have. So as you're going about this, I want you to remember something. We all have another female, another woman, another person in our lives that we look up to, or that we want to be more like. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have that female that we look up to, that we strive to be more like. It's like a mentor, but maybe they don't even know that they're your mentor, but it's somebody that you want to aspire to be more like. Maybe it's multiple people. I don't have just one other female that I am like, yes, I want to be exactly like her when I grow up. No, I don't have that. I have various females within my life, mothers. Some of them are mothers and some of them are not, that I really look up to for different areas and different aspects. Maybe it's somebody has their home much more organized or cozy, or, it's just decluttered or more minimalist. Like, that's okay for me to say, I am very inspired by that woman, and I really want to work towards that as my goal. So you can have multiple people that create this vision for this life that you want to lead. I highly, highly encourage that. Maybe it is one person, maybe it is one female, But I want you to know that those people are not perfect. Okay. They all have their own shit that they're working on also. But there are certain aspects of other women that we say, I would really like to be a little bit more like that. I really love the way so and so manages her finances. And I love talking to her about that. And it's incredibly inspiring. And I want to do that. So as you're going through each of these elements, maybe there's somebody or multiple people that you can say, okay, this is the goal that I'm trying to get to. I want to have my house look and feel a little more like this. I want my finances to look a little more like this. I am very inspired by how this female talks about her husband and the work they put in on their relationship. This other woman over here has put in so much time on her health and she looks amazing. She talks very positively about herself. She dedicates a lot of time to self-care. So there's all of these with these 4 elements, there are multiple people that you can look up to. And maybe there's 2 people that have 2 of these elements figured out, but it's okay to paint a picture of what you want it to look like. You need to start with the end in mind. So what is your goal? What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? And then from there, your daily check-ins. How's my home? How's my health? How's my wealth? How's my love? And we're going to break each of those down. I'm so excited about this. We've never had a theme. I've never done this as a theme, but I'm very passionate in talking about and exploring and diving into these 4 foundational elements because they truly are going to lead you, if done correctly and the self-reflective work is done daily, it will truly lead you down the path of a fulfilled life as a stay-at-home mom. Again, every single day isn't going to be perfect. So you pause, reflect on that the next day and say, what do I need to do to improve my life today? I didn't get the dishes done yesterday, so I need to work on the home element of these 4 elements. And you can do that because now you have the tools. You have the foundation for doing the reflective work. And then throughout the month of January, every Monday, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into all of these and in that order. We're going to go absolutely in that order. So the first one is going to be home. The next one is going to be health. The next one is going to be wealth. And the next one is going to be love. So as we talk about things throughout the entire year of 2022, I want you to be able to apply something that we're talking about, whether I have a guest on, whether that's something that I'm talking about on my Monday solo episodes, whether I post something on Instagram or Facebook, it all is going to be applied to one of these 4 foundational elements. So if you ever have any questions with it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask. Let me know how this goes for you. I'm super excited to dive into these. I'm going to do my best to give you some solid resources and tips. But again, this is just going to scratch the surface. What's really going to take you to the next level, what's really going to allow you to dive into it is by you doing the work yourself. So I might give you a couple of books, I might give you a couple of resources, but from there, you might try them and it may not work for you. So just pivot and find something else. I don't want you to be afraid to try something different than what I'm suggesting here. I definitely don't want all of you to go about this in exactly the same way that I would with the exact same resources, but I'm going to give you a couple of them basically to just get you started, get the gears going, get your mind working around this and wrapped around these 4 foundational elements of living and leading a fulfilled life as a successful stay-at-home mom. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm super excited to dive into the month of January. Thank you so much for listening today, sweet mama. I look forward to talking to you all again very soon.